songs like Freight Train, Breaking Away,
It's been so good being with you, but I just can't stay. Please don't be sorry or sad, just put it this way. I gotta change my life, starting today. I'm not breaking up, I'm breaking away.
and Country Mile.
This might take a while. Life's a long song. We'll play it in style. I know you're the one. See it in your smile. If it feels too long, well, it's all country mile.
The Heartland Roots Band is making their way up the UK chart. Country band from the UK. They're going to be with us today on If Not For Music.
Stayed up late and wondered how much longer we gotta go. 'Cause these twists and turns and roundabouts are the only
So stick
road we
around.
know.
We got them coming your way next. And it's all brought to you by Music Dreams USA Radio Worldwide.
We'll drive along this street.
How you doing, sir?
All good, mate. All good.
Thought maybe we had the mute drummer down there.
The mute drummer, yeah.
We're trying to do that for years, but
Doesn't work. It never will.
There's no such thing as a chatty drummer, is there?
Yeah, I'm in.
There you go.
You put your microphone away for a reason.
All right, so tell me a little bit about, I've got on your website or I've gotten on Facebook, and I'm not finding a whole lot on your background about how you guys got together as a band. So I'm trying to figure out how you guys met and how you started your group.
okay. Well, I'm best placed to answer that one, Kenny. Quite a long time ago, a few years ago, Anna and I started a band, a little band, kind of just for fun, really, and we never really took it that seriously. We were just doing it for fun, and then we were trying out different musicians to work with us, and then we met. We were doing it for fun. Then we met Steve, and then it all changed.
Well, is he like Mr. Serious or something?
No, what I mean, sorry, Steve, I don't mean to upset you. What I mean, Steve, is where the fun didn't stop, but it got a bit more serious, because as we started to get some actual serious musicians on board, then we knew that this was going to do something good. So it was just like putting a bit of a jigsaw. Sam came in on lead vocals, and then Richard on bass and Callum on lead guitar. And at that point, we thought, wow, this sounds really good. I know we can do something with this. So I really consider this band, the six of us, have been together since about a couple of years. That's it. And in that time, we started to make some music together. We got a little invite from an independent record company in London who signed us up to make these 4 singles, which we've made, and you've probably heard all of them by now. And the last one just came out a couple of weeks ago, and that's where we're at now. We're just trying to promote our stuff on the UK country scene, and now we're getting a bit of airplay in other countries and in America. That's amazing.
Awesome.
So it's fairly new to me. I'm not aware of the UK country scene. I'm from Texas, and country music is like a lifestyle down here. And we're all about country music. George Strait and all that stuff. So it's big here. So there's a lot of folks like me that didn't even know country music existed in the UK. So that to me, I was amazed, and I was just blown away with the music. It's really good.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of people in the UK that aren't aware it exists as well, I can tell you.
You have to win them over. You got to win them one person at a time, man. Win them over.
Literally, yeah. Connection.
There's a lot of big cities, but it's all kind of like, it's not that connected apart from via social media. So everything we've had to do is... Oh, we lost Kenny for a moment.
Still here.
Okay.
We
Okay.
just lost his image.
Yeah, so everything we've had to do to try to get our name around has been via social media. We're trying to play as widely as we can, but mainly it's via public relations.
Sure I am.
Hey,
So, how did you get started with country music? I mean, what genre? I mean, who classified you as country music?
Well, again, that's a bit of a tricky one. When Anna and I first started the group, we were probably more folky country, more of an acoustic kind of thing, and then I just figured there was a bit more. I'm half Irish, and I was being played country music from when I was a child by my mum. All Irish people love country music, so I was being played all the time when I was a child. So I kind of grew up listening to all of that stuff, and then I thought, hang on, this is something we can do here. You need the right kind of musicians. You need kind of musicians who can adapt. I mean,
well, when we first met, and I was playing in a different band, I was actually playing saxophone, which was quite far removed from country or folk. But very quickly, I was adapting and playing different instruments. So I started to play whistles, a baran. We played a bit. That was when we played more sort of Irish style music, and then it developed from there into the country quite quickly.
And obviously, when we got people like Steve and Richard on board, who've got a background in playing a lot of different music scene, but probably a lot of rock, I guess. And then Callum, his if you listen to the song we've just recorded, the solo one, it sounds like B.B. King. This is from a 23-year-old guy. Sounds plays like B.B. King. Incredible. And then you've got Sam. Well, Sam can probably sing anything. So, Sam, you tell us about what your background is.
Yeah, so I don't think I can sing everything. Thank you, though, Adi. But my background's in musical theatre. So I actually studied musical theatre and dance in South Africa, and that's my first love. But when I moved to the UK and I really wanted to start like performing and that kind of thing, and then Adi found me through a band website kind of thing, and I just started up with them, and my love of country began. So
Well, you knew a lot of stuff, didn't you?
I mean, did I though? I know stuff now because Adi's not just a band leader, he's also a history teacher. So, and trust me, it's a lesson every rehearsal.
Curator of music. Sorry, Rich, you were going to say something. Carry on.
What I was going to say was that I didn't realise quite how much I enjoyed playing the music I play now, up to the point where I started playing it. And over the last couple of years, it's been an absolute joy playing with this band. It's been far more enjoyable experience than I've ever had with any band. Probably bar one, but that was probably when I was about 18. So it's taken the thick end of 30 years to get here, but I'm here, and that's what's important.
Oh, we love you too, Rick.
So
it's a nice challenge playing in the different genre though as well. So you get all the take all that experience and put it into one sort of situation, and what we found is the results are on those 4 singles basically. It's
the true cross between country and rock music. It's just people that see that, hear it in the music and in the lyrics and in the way it's performed.
Well, Callum, you haven't said much yet.
Yeah, it's different. Every one of the singles is a bit different. Showcases our sort of breadth of what we can do. Really, I guess it's what. Yeah.
Now, who were your influences when you were growing up, or your influences now as far as music goes?
Let me go first.
No, go on, Adi.
We'll be here all night.
How much time do you have?
I'll keep it short, okay?
Kenny, just make sure you've got enough disk space.
Okay, I'm going to keep this short, but we basically called the group Heartland Roots because I don't know if you there was this kind of thing called roots rock. What you think about back in the 60s when the Beatles had stopped being psychedelic and started doing like Get Back and that sort of thing. The Rolling Stones stopped doing that sort of thing, started doing Paint It Black and You Give Me Shelter and that sort of stuff. They started calling it roots rock. It was a bit like getting back to basics of like guitars, bass, drums. And then obviously in the 70s, you got all these fantastic bands like the Allman Brothers and the Eagles coming through, and they were taking country stuff and rock stuff at the same time. That's and Little Feat and people like that, Ry Cooder, but also British stuff like Van Morrison, Richard Thompson. They were people, I loved when I was growing up. And then, I loved everything going on, all the pop music. Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen. Go on, Anna, you.
Well, Tom Petty, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, it's probably the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac would be a big one. Yeah, I enjoy them.
From my point of view, I would say probably the first influence in music would be Alan Parsons. And I don't think anybody has heard of him. He ran a band called the Alan Parsons Project. Massive influence on my music. And then I joined a band which never went anywhere, but they introduced me to people like Heart and Survivor and Foreigner. And
Foreigner, yes.
And Chicago, and it was just the melodic rock side of it that I just so loved, which brought me to where I am now, and I still love playing that.
Yeah.
Hello, come on.
Yeah. I my first band was probably the Beatles to get into, but then I discovered my dad showed me Eric Clapton with the Blues Breakers, and from there it's been blues rock guitar like ZZ Top and Led Zeppelin, and that was sort of what I started off doing.
ZZ Top, Texas finest band.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and then more recently, because I was getting into country anyway, and this band kind of came at the right point where I was sort of exploring Danny Gatton's guitar and all that, those kind of American telly players, I guess. Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Well, my influences are more on the heavier side of things, so like your 80s hard rock. Massive fan of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest and all that sort of stuff. And in the bands that I was in sort of growing up as a kid, playing along to a lot of that sort of stuff helped me develop a lot of the skills and techniques and sort of keeping up with the stamina of it. So it's nice to sort of step off the gas a little bit with some of this stuff and get a little bit more groove into there as well. And working with Rick as well, that we can really bounce off each other as well. That's rhythm section this side of Christendom.
Well, my first two concerts that I saw, my first one, I think I was maybe 14, 15. I saw Pink Floyd. That was a live show, killer live show, and then Def Leppard with Europe opened up for them. And Def Leppard I was a big Def Leppard fan. I think I've seen them like 4 times over the years. Really good band.
You talked about earlier, Sam.
Now, you guys, you were talking about.
There you go.
You bet, man. Yeah. One of the best albums ever. You were talking about Survivor, and it was really cool because here in the last year and a half, maybe, I've interviewed 2 of the members of Survivor. I did a Jim Peterk about a month and a half ago.
Wow.
And I did an interview with Dave Bickler, the former lead singer.
Fantastic.
Jeez. So we're in very good company, the fact that you're interviewing us.
Oh, yeah. Real good company, Like I said, it's about a 50-cent interview right here.
Hey.
I don't know what that is in pounds, but it's 50 cents here. But no, you guys, when I listened to you and I showed my wife, I was just so blown away with it. I said, you got to hear this. This is really good. My wife, she's a music fan as big as I am, but music is my life. I don't play. I used to do a little writing back in the day. I used to travel and sing a little bit, but I can't read a lick of music. But I took this music to her and I said, I'm hearing 2 bands with this music. And the first one I hear is like a country version of ABBA. It's got that harmony and it just sounds great.
Oh, God.
I don't know if that's going to date you a little bit. And then the second one, you were talking about Fleetwood Mac, and there's a little of that there, but Samantha, with your voice, I'm getting some early Olivia Newton-John.
Yes.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that country Olivia Newton-John, and it's really sounds great. And I bet you could sing the Telephone Book.
I'm getting chills. In fact, they're multiplying.
Go there, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's got the outfit as well.
You bet
Adrian,
I do.
are you the one that does all the writing, or who writes the songs?
Well, we're starting to get to the point where we're all contributing to writing now. I mean, I've probably done most of the lyrics on the last single, for instance, 100 Miles. The lyrics came from me, Sam, and Richard. But we've got, when we actually get to be all in a room together, we're going to start working on some new stuff, and everybody's got lyrics and everybody's got ideas. And lockdown's been difficult for us because we've not been in the same room together since February now. And this Sunday, we're actually going to meet outside in our garden and sit around with some guitars and a bottle of wine and see what happens.
A bottle.
Oh man!
One bottle.
You got a country band together. You need to break open some Lone Star beer.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Where's the beer? Never mind the wine.
We don't have any Lone Star beer, but if we.
I think they do that in Tesco's.
Yeah.
Thank you, Callum, for that bit of information.
So, in the process of writing your music, writing your songs, what comes first? Is it the melody or is it the lyrics?
For me, generally, I like to have an idea for a song. The hardest part for me is actually finding an idea for a song. Once someone says, okay, write a song about somebody who, tells me a situation, I can just write it all down pretty much. And then once I've got some lyrics, then I just pick up a guitar or, and then start to sort of think of some things. But what a problem I was always having in the past was I'd come up with a verse and a chorus, and then I'd get bored with it or think, oh, I don't know what to do with this now. So this is great now because I can say to Rich, I can send him something, or to Sam, can you do something with this? And then they come they send me something back, which takes it in a whole different direction. So, for instance, we've got another song we're working on at the moment, which Rich just sent me some lyrics. And Rich probably thought it was completely throwaway. And I thought, hang on, I've got something here. So I just added something else to it. And then Sam's added something else to it. And that's going to be one of our new songs. So Sam, you probably hear everything all at once because that's like the way you work.
Yeah, I'm different in the way that if I hear a melody first and then I'll put lyrics to it. So I'm the opposite of AD in the sense that if somebody plays me a couple of set of chords, or if I'm playing a few chords, and I'll hear like
You're frozen, Sam.
Sam's frozen.
Let it go.
Am I back?
There you are.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll hear a melody in my head and then I put words to the melody. So I think it's got something to do with the fact that I'm a tap dance teacher and I scat da 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 da. So then I'll put words to that, and then that's how I write. But anyway.
When I write, I'll play something, and when I play something, I'll play it over and over again, and then as that happens, the melody develops in my head. When the melody develops, then I'll try and think of some a subject for it. But it doesn't always happen that way. It's like sometimes when AD gets a subject, there was a time I was being bombarded with it was Yugoslavia, I think, and the images on the TV of Yugoslavia and the war that was going on there, and it was bugging me, and I didn't realise it was bugging me until I sat down and wrote out about 4 or 5 pages of just stuff, and took all the lyrics out of that stuff, and then I went to a guitarist friend that I was working with at the time, and we went, okay, let's do something with that, and it just evolved from there. But most of the time I'll just sit and play at the piano, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
but the idea of this genre of music, really, as you know, Kenny, is to be quite lyrically accessible for people to be able to quite easily get an idea of what we're talking about here. So we try to make the themes we're writing about reasonably universal. Although with Hit Me Like a Freight Train, when I started saying to Sam, okay, this is the first line. I've never bought a ticket for anywhere. She was like, what? What, you some kind of cheapskate? You never buy tickets for... I was like, no, that's a metaphor, Sam.
I didn't get that song at all. I said to AD, I was like, I think you need to sing this song because it just doesn't make sense for me to sing it. But yeah, I'm glad that I did.
I've never bought a ticket for anywhere. I was saying that's a metaphor. I've never been committed to anything. So that's like the whole song is a metaphor about commitment, but we try not to put too many metaphors in. People don't understand them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one of the cool things about country music here in the States is country music, if people think about it in the States, it tells a story. It's something that people can relate to.
That's what I love about it.
So that, to me, is that's what your music does. Your music's very relatable. It tells a story. I would put it in the country music genre. Now, I would also say, too, that it's kind of a throwback to some of the 90s country, as not really so much of today's country. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with today's country. There's a lot of people that will say it doesn't have any substance. It's a lot of flash in the pants, you know. But, you know, there's some good music out there. There's some good artists out there. But your artists, you know, your throwback artists like your 80s and 90s, 70s country music, that's where all the country music was. Of course, you get to my dad's age, he's going to say it's a little further back.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Ken. Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. I mean, I love a lot of modern country stuff, and I don't have a problem with it. I mean, people say, oh, well, it's just, you know, it's just pop music with a southern accent or whatever, but that's okay. There's room for everybody to do something, isn't there? And I don't knock any of it either. I like a bit of everything, really.
You can do anything with it, you know.
It's,
yeah.
I mean, it's about the most versatile genre of music you can find.
Yeah.
What kind of groups what kind of people are y'all playing to? I mean, what kind of events are you guys touring whenever you're touring, of course?
Well, when we first started playing, we're mainly around our city. We're trying to play anywhere we can, and people, not necessarily country fans, they're just people who come along to see a band, and lots of them, their reaction might be that they didn't understand that they not like country music, and they're, oh yeah, well I like that, you know, and they're surprised. Like, hey, you didn't say it's going to be this good. I'm like, well, what do you think? I would invite you to log something that's terrible. You know, it's good. Of course, it's good.
You don't all wear dungarees and play the banjo.
No. But now, hopefully, we're going to be playing in more kind of specialist festivals and things like that, where a lot more of people who are listening to us will be country fans and have a bit more knowledge about it. I don't really care whether they're country fans or not, as long as people are having a good time. That's fine by me.
Yeah. We also, in 2018, we did a small tour to France, and we played a couple of weeks there. Oh, for God's sake.
She's good.
Must be really cold over there.
She looks very.
I was thinking back to 2018.
It's so annoying because
Need some of that little dream music.
It's so annoying because I can hear all of you say, "Oh, and she's frozen," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." In 2018, we played in France, and they absolutely loved it. That's all I have to say.
That was it.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, Sam, say more. Say more.
Okay, so
I freeze again.
I don't catch your voice. You freeze it again. So do you guys, is this your full-time job, or do you still have full-time jobs and you're still trying to make this go?
Oh God, we wish.
Yeah.
There's no money in this lot.
Well, Kenny, as you may or may not know, this is probably the worst time in the world to be a professional musician, because you can't earn any money from it. Because if people are giving everything away for free, how can you make people pay for it?
Yeah.
So it's hard to make any money from music. So we all have our little sideline, what we do. Apart from Callum is only focused on guitar.
Yeah. Well done, Cal.
Well,
It's not old enough for a proper job.
I'm taking it Samantha and Callum are the two youngest in the group.
Yeah. Cal's the youngest. He's 23. Yeah. I won't tell you how old I am because that's not polite.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't asking your age. I wasn't asking your age.
Yes, we're the two youngest, Kenny. You are correct.
We are a broad church, shall we say? And Kenny, I'm probably a man of a similar vintage to you. So, judging by some of the bands you were calling out earlier on, so you understand. But that's another thing about country music. you don't all have to look the same or be the same age. You're just a band, a random bunch of people that get together and some magic happens.
And it works.
You've never been to Arkansas.
I haven't yet, but I want to go. Yeah.
Kenny, I'd like to ask you what sort of country bands you listen to currently, you know, that you rate
Me?
at the moment.
Country bands? You talking about country bands?
Yeah, country bands.
I'm a huge Keith Urban fan. I love his music. I think he does a really good job.
Same.
Lady Antebellum.
Yep.
I love their music. Rascal Flatts. I love their stuff. But I go back a little further. I go back to stuff like Sawyer Brown. I go to Steve Wariner, George Strait.
Wow.
So this is where you get to do a little homework, because I'll throw you some names out there and you can go back and listen to some of these people's albums here.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked you the question. That's why I asked you.
But I love Steve Wariner. Was one of my favorite country artists growing up. He was the one guy I wanted to meet while I was in radio. Never got a chance to do it, but he's a really good artist. Does a lot of good writing. He's a skillful guitar player. One of the best as far as in the country music scene over here. He's definitely one of the best.
Well, maybe, Kenny, some people who are listening to this might, they could also send us some of their recommendations as well. But hopefully, if people are listening to this show, they can maybe look us up via Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and they can chat to us and send us some ideas of songs they'd like us to do, or just get to know the band. Follow us on Spotify.
Some Olivia Newton-John covers that they might want us to play.
Yeah, there you go. I tell you what, I need to get you guys. I need to help you guys set up a website to make it easier to find you on the web, so we can put all your information on there.
We're working on it.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Like I said, I think everybody needs to find you guys. You guys got an extremely great sound, very, very fresh, but at the same time, still takes you back a little bit. Still sounds vintage country. So,
thanks,
thank you.
Thanks for that.
If you like a great harmony, and this is also one of my favorite bands in the country music genre. One of my favorite bands is called Restless Heart. This group here has some of the best country harmony you're ever going to hear. And
I'll listen for that.
Restless Heart. Look for their greatest hits album, and you'll see a lot of great songs on there. But man, they are greatness. And then if you like them, let me know, Adrian. Let me know if you like them, and like I said, I'll definitely point you in the way of some more music that
Okay.
Awesome.
Influence is always good. My big question to you though is, how do you write a song and you get a song in your ear and you have to be sure that it's not somebody else's tune that's stuck in your ear? Because I know that happens a lot.
Well, that's a tricky one. There's only 12 notes out there or something like that on there, and just a case of putting them in different order, really, I guess. I don't know. I mean, these days, if I write some lyrics, I think, wow, that came so naturally to me. I do actually Google it to make sure nobody else has written it. And with a song title, I mean, I wanted to write a song called Gasoline, because I'd heard that song by Katy Perry called Firework, right? And I thought, that's like a title means it's explosive. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, I'll write a song called Gasoline. And then I wrote it and thought, that's too easy. That's too easy. So I had to see if any other songs called Gasoline. There's probably about another 5 million songs called Gasoline.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter, does it? It's a different song.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it has the same title, just as long as it's got different words.
There's the words are different and the chords are different, but
I think there's 6 of us in the band, so if one of us plays it to the other 6, chances are someone's going to say, "Oh, that sounds familiar," if it does.
Yeah.
That's
good artist, Kate. Great artist still.
That's hard to do, though. I mean, there's just you hear a song and you get a melody stuck in your head. I mean, just from listening to a radio or something, and like I said, next thing you know, you're strumming it. You're thinking, "Oh my gosh, this could be original."
It happens, yeah. It definitely happens.
So when is your new album going to be out?
Right. Well, in terms of an album, we've probably got enough material to make about 3 albums right now. But with the record company we're with, there's almost no point in doing an album at the moment, because we're just doing little. Every 3 months we release a single, and we try to use that as an advert for people to get interested in the band. And the long-term goal is for us to get signed to a major label. Then when we get signed to a major label, then do an album.
Yeah.
Okay.
But their main thing is consistency. So it's every 3 months we've got a single. So we're consistently on Spotify advertising something new.
Cool. And you guys are getting lots of streams. And what was number one? You went to number one for country in
Country Miles, yeah.
I don't think it got to number one, but it certainly got top 5. But we've got another one coming out at the end of August, and we're hoping to get the number one with that one.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I'm excited for you guys. I look forward to listening to lots of your music in the future. And, you know, I'm looking forward to you guys coming over here into the States and doing
Yes, please.
Be nice. Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That would be awesome. I've got a cousin who owns a brewery in St. Louis, so we can stop by there.
Oh, yes. St. Louis Brewery. What's the name of the brewery? I'll be looking for it.
6 Mile Bridge.
6 Mile Bridge. Okay.
Yeah.
That is cool. But like I said, if you guys get to Texas, Fort Worth, we can hook you up with some places down here in the Stockyards. That is Cowtown Central, the Fort Worth Stockyards. You come to Fort Worth, you got to play the Stockyards.
We're going to be holding you to that, Kenny. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You bet. We have a lot of connections here in Texas. So I've been doing this a long time. Been in the music industry for a long time. So
thank you for inviting us to do this. Thank you.
You bet. We appreciate you guys. I know it's getting late there. By the way, what time is it there in Mario, England?
20 past 9.
20 past 9.
Late. 20 past 9.
Past my bedtime.
Yes,
it's light outside.
It's past the drummer's bedtime, guys.
Yeah.
So guys, I appreciate y'all's time, and we'll get this recorded. We'll get it on YouTube for you. We'll get it on my podcast. And man, I'm so excited for you guys. Can't wait to see you.
Thanks so much, Kenny.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you from Texas. Y'all have a good one.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.